Joining us now on the line, Larry Kudlow, host of the Kudlow Report on CNBC, and, of course, the Larry Kudlow Show on WMAL's Saturday at 7 p.m. Larry, always a pleasure. How are you?
Good, thanks. Good, thanks. How are you?
All right. Now, I always ask you these questions, and I always know I sort of irritate you when I do it. When I ask questions about, well, the market's up, the market's down. Right now, the market is up and, and near its record highs again. But let me ask you a different question. Pull back 30,000 feet. Give me the big picture. Why is it that we are going through such market volatility? What causes it to drop 200, 400, 600 points and then come roaring back so regularly?
Actually, you know why? You got big numbers. The law of big numbers. When you're at 16,000 plus on the Dow and 1,847 on the S&P, these numerical changes sound bigger than they are. But
when you look at percentages, they're not.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And just as you were saying that, I was looking at my stock sheets from last night. The volatility index, the VIX index, is it's only 14. It's only 14. I mean, that's really low.
So
really
when we hear these reports of bad day on Wall Street, we lost 200 points.
Yeah,
really not that big a deal.
Nothing. Doesn't mean a thing. When I grew up, first jobs I ever had in Wall Street in the 1970s, those would have been big deals. I mean, really big deals. Nowadays, at these lofty levels, I don't think they're big deals. And I want to repeat something because I've been telling you fellas to buy the dip, and you're back now. The S&P 500 is now flat year to date, so the correction may or may not be over. All I'm saying is we've regrouped our losses. And look, profit, I'm going to repeat this Kudlow mantra. Profits are the mother's milk of stocks. Watch profits, all right? Now, I know they come out a little later than other data points, but they're absolutely the driver. And we have record profits. Record profits. Okay, it's about 12% of GDP. And I don't see any reason why you can't have record stock prices if you have record profits. And if for bears out there, you'd have to see a big slump, a sustained slump in profits for the next couple of quarters, several quarters, 2-3 quarters, that would signal not only a slump in stocks, but would signal a recession. Profits are absolutely vital to the workings of a capitalist economy. I don't see it. I just don't see it. And therefore, I can't get that excited about these wiggles and wobbles in the stock market. I just can't. We're not going to do like we did last year. I'm not saying that. But another 10% net gain this year, I think that's very possible. Very, very possible.
Larry Kudlow, the president, travels to St. Paul, Minnesota tomorrow, where he is going to announce a whole bunch of more spending he wants to do. I should say borrowing, taxing, and spending as part of his year of action. By the way, he also announced to the Washington Post, or his people did, that the era of austerity is over. Did you miss the era of austerity?
When did that happen?
Actually, here's a funny thing. I don't want to defend Obama's business.
I think I got you, Larry. I think we got a good laugh out of you.
I know. Here's the point I want to make. We have seen a tremendous drop in spending. Now, I don't really think that's because of Obama policies. I think it's, because the economy has recovered, albeit slowly. You do spend less when the economy is rising, not falling. And probably more important, B, because of Republican pressures beginning in 2011, you've had strict budget caps, and then you had the automatic budget cuts through the sequester. And they've worked. They haven't done anything on entitlements, I'll grant you that, but on appropriations, they have worked. And so spending has dropped from, 24% of GDP all the way down to around 21% of GDP or less. Yeah. I don't think we've spent a nickel more overall budget since about the middle of 2009. We're not that much higher than we were back in 2007. So in that sense, we have had austerity in spending, which I think is great pro-growth. The less the government spends, the fewer resources you're taking out of private investment. That's the key point. All the Paul Krugman Keynesians that populated the White House, and Krugman is, of course, a fellow traveler or fellow instigator, all that stuff didn't work. We didn't get the 4% economic growth. We didn't get the 5% unemployment a year or two ago. All their forecasts were wrong. But what has happened is we've had lower spending, and it's actually helping the economy to heal. And if we keep the lower spending going, we'll be in very good shape. So in that sense, Obama's right. There has been some austerity.
All right.
I give him credit. It's kind of like the oil and gas story. He takes credit for the boom in oil and gas.
He didn't have anything to do with it.
Nothing to do with it. In fact, he opposed it every step of the way, and he continues to oppose it on federal lands. So here's another case where a good thing happened that he was against.
Larry, I only have 30 seconds, so I'm curious. One of the big stories last week, of course, was the Comcast Time Warner announcement, and I wonder how you guys have covered it, especially considering CNBC is a Comcast property.
Well, we've covered it. We've covered it in great detail and great depth.
Do you have any concerns?
Story. No. We're straight business reporters. I don't think anyone's...
No, do you have any concerns about the merger?
No, I do not, because I think there's so much competition out there, between broadcast, between cable, between internet, between blogs, between social media. It's a whole new ball game. And I think this other point about Netflix having to pay Comcast for the use of the pipes,
for more broadband,
the pipes. That's a good thing. That's a capitalist thing. After all, if Comcast or Verizon or whoever builds out the broadband pipes, why should there be free riders to take advantage of it?
It's a great point, Larry, but we went over my 30 seconds, so thanks for joining us.
Thanks, you, fellas. Appreciate it.